Hey, Merry New Year! Just having a cup of joe, and I wanted to put out a video about a poll that I took a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month ago. I asked the question about what entity did people feel like they may have been taken advantage of by. You know, whether it be a shipper, a carrier, a broker, a recruiter, what have you. Here's the poll, actually. And surprisingly, you can see that it's the broker that people feel like they've been taken advantage of by the most. Well, maybe not surprisingly. So I just wanted to put this video out there. Most of you know how to follow up and make sure your broker's working for you in your best interest. But, you know, if there's one person out there that I can help, then I'm satisfied. So here we go. We're going to call this How to Check the Legitimacy of Your Freight Broker. First off, what is a freight broker? Well, freight brokers work together with shippers and carriers as like the middle entity to effect a smooth transaction in transporting freight. They are an integral part. Integral? You say potato, I say potato. I don't really. But I'm going to go with integral because it's easier for me to say. Anyhow, they are an integral part of the transportation industry, but it can be challenging to know whether the broker you're thinking about working with is legitimate or not. For one, brokers must be licensed in order to operate legally in the United States, and there are other ways to ensure a broker is working for your best interest. So before hiring a freight broker, be sure to follow these tips to protect your business, your customers, and your freight from start to finish. Freight broker versus freight provider. While the terms may be used interchangeably, there is a huge difference between forwarders and brokers. Freight forwarders physically take possession of merchandise and are responsible for moving it from location to location. Freight brokers, on the other hand, work as intermediaries between shippers and carriers to effect that smooth transition or smooth transaction in transporting freight. But both forwarders and brokers are integral, potato. Both of them are an integral part of the transportation industry. The first step in checking the legitimacy of a freight broker is gathering information on the broker's licensing and registration. All freight brokers operating in the U.S. must have a license and be actively registered with the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, aka FMCSA. Federal law requires that anyone assisting in the transportation of freight in exchange for compensation hold a valid license. A quick check of the broker's information can be completed on the FMCSA website, and I'll put a link to it down below. If a broker does not provide the details necessary to check his or her registration, find a different broker. Insurance and bonding details. In addition to federal registration and licensing guidelines, freight brokers must also have an appropriate bond posted to operate legally. A freight broker bond of no less than $75,000 is required to be in place before receiving a valid license. This bond protects the carriers and the shippers against a freight broker operating in a way that is not within the FMCSA rules. Bonds are often confused with insurance coverage, but there are distinct differences. Freight broker bonds are a form of credit extended to the broker, and any claims that are made against them that are legitimate must be repaid over time. Insurance covers other risks for damage to the freight or liabilities incurred due to accidents or legal issues. Freight brokers may have a combination of bonds and insurance to help protect customers, and the brokers that have both of these financial tools in place are likely to be trustworthy. Industry certifications and training. This is another method to ensure a freight broker you work with is credible. Ask for details about their certifications and training in the business. There are many freight brokerage training courses available through universities, colleges, and online training schools that improve the overall knowledge of the industry among brokers who successfully complete them. Ask a potential freight broker for information about completed courses or certifications, along with experience that is specific to the freight brokerage business. And finally, business references. Business references are one of the best ways to know if a licensed freight broker is legitimate. Most freight brokers have a long history in the industry, and therefore they have worked with a pretty substantial number of carriers and shippers. A freight broker should be able and willing to provide a list of past satisfied customers upon request. Those who don't may be lacking a strong track record in the business. And in conclusion, hiring a freight broker as a carrier or a shipper can be incredibly beneficial in managing the logistics of transportation needs. But freight brokers are only helpful when they are legitimate. Be sure to do your homework on a broker's license and registration through FMCSA and ensure that they have the appropriate bond and insurance in place. And remember to follow up with a check of certifications, and remember to always ask for business references before hiring. Well, that's it. Again, Happy New Year. Wish you the best. I hope I was able to help one person out there. Is it you? Or is it you? Hey, thanks for watching. If you're an owner-operator looking for a fantastic opportunity, give me a call. We're looking for owner-operators up to 90% of gross, 7 to 10K per week. Go home when you want, nothing forced. Midwest lanes, no coast, west or east, and year-round freight. Give me a call, Randall, 501-500-3610, or randall.hibbard@hibbardlabs.com. Hey, thanks again. Take care. And we are live. 1, 2, 3. Do, 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 do.